Hello, Dubai Podfest. My name is Todd Cochrane. As a way of introduction, I'm an 18-year podcaster. I started podcasting in October of 2004, and I'm fast approaching my 19th year in podcasting. I want to thank the Press Club for giving me the opportunity to present a few things for you today. It's my pleasure to be here presenting virtually. I had the pleasure of being in Riyadh last summer to be able to present in Riyadh at the Ignite the Sound. And I know that podcasting is a very, very hot medium right now in the region. And again, I congratulate your attendance here at the event on podcasting. But just to give you a little background, again, I've been in podcasting 18 years. I currently do 3 shows. I do the New Media Show with my co-host, Mr. Rob Greenlee at newmediashow.com. I do the show that I started podcasting with called Geek News Central. It's a tech show that I do twice a week. And I also create and co-host on the internal company podcast called Podcast Insider at Blubrry. I was inducted into the Podcast Hall of Fame in 2015. I have run the People's Choice Podcast Awards at podcastawards.com. Matter of fact, we are in our 18th year, getting ready to open nominations on July 1st, which is an international event. But more importantly, I am still an active podcaster, and well over 2,000 episodes have been created and collectively in the episodes that I have done. Just a little bit about Blubrry and what we do. We founded Blubrry in 2006, and Blubrry is a full service podcast hosting company. We work with podcasters worldwide. A lot of the podcasters that use our service use our PowerPress podcasting plugin for WordPress. Many host with us, but we are a full service podcast hosting company for independents all the way up to enterprise level clients. And we believe that podcasters should be able to publish, analyze, and grow and really thrive with their podcast and everything else that goes along with podcasting. Today, I'm here to talk about 2 things. And I've got a short amount of time to go over about innovation in podcasting and a little bit about monetization within that innovation and things that you probably have already been exposed to here at the conference. Since basically the beginning of podcasting in 2004, we have been really limited in expanding features to listeners. And there's a new initiative that's been going on for the last couple of years. It's called the Podcasting 2.0 initiative, where we are expanding the feature set to listeners and giving them the ability to have new experiences on a variety of new apps. And I'll talk about that in just a moment. But Podcasting 2.0 is really an initiative between podcast hosts, app developers, podcast space enthusiasts to expand the capability by increasing the functionality of Open RSS. And Open RSS allows podcasting to be what it is. The openness of podcasting has allowed anyone with a microphone or a cell phone to be able to present their thoughts and ideas to an audience without restriction, without gatekeepers. Podcasting 2.0 has had a significant impact on podcasters already. The most widely adopted function is transcripts, and be able to put in a transcript in your RSS feed, have that tied to a player that will allow those that are hearing impaired to have a closed caption experience by listening to a podcast on a website. Well, this one success, there's a multitude of new ideas resulted with a massive amount of work to expand. But again, as a little bit of perspective, if we go back to the 2004-2005 timeframe, what we saw is there was immense innovation in podcasting. But as soon as Apple introduced podcasting to the iTunes platform at the time, innovation kind of stopped. So what we're doing now is we're reclaiming the ability to expand podcasting. The future is now. We have introduced new features like funding, chapters, location, credits being able to give credits to people that are on your show. The ability, of course, to have the audience actually participate in what's called a value for value proposition. And value for value has been in place for a long, long time. And maybe value for value is something that you're already doing with your shows, where you ask your podcast listeners to be able to donate to your show, either through PayPal or maybe Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee. Those functions have been in place for a very long time. But the Podcasting 2.0 version of this adds the ability for folks to be able to contribute to your show with crypto, be able to donate with what's called a Satoshi. A Satoshi is a 100 millionth of a Bitcoin, so that they can send what's called a boost, and to be able to send a comment along with a small donation, a micro donation without a very low processing fee back to your show. But the value for value model is one where you give value, and then you ask of your audience to give value back to you, whether it be time, by helping you, by their talent. Maybe they're helping you with art, or their treasure, being able to contribute back to your show in a monetary way. Time, treasure, talent is the value for value model, where you ask your audience to give back based upon the value that you've given your audience. It's something that has to be built over time. Podcast audiences and listeners have been used to basically listening to advertisements. They've never had to pay for podcasting, and we're not asking them to. We're just asking them to give value back for the contribution of the content that you give them. Of course, you have to provide great content to give them value, so they give you value back. And it's a way of life in podcasting, and it provides a feedback loop where listeners will provide feedback, maybe in those comments or emails or PayPal contributions, or however that money comes to you. The example that I often give is, because I do my show live as well as make it available on demand, as people are listening live, they have the ability to contribute to the show live, and it comes in on a dashboard that I can watch, and I can see comments that come in, just like on YouTube when someone's doing YouTube live and they're able to monetize their show. In podcasting, we have the same ability now for people to come in and contribute from within podcasting apps. So there's a whole plethora of brand new podcasting apps out there that are available at podcastapps.com. And Castapod, Podverse, Podcast Addict. These are all apps that have adopted the Podcasting 2.0 system. Some offer a variety of levels of features, which are laid out at this website, again, at podcastapps.com. This is a great new way to engage your audience, and a great new way to really make people understand that podcasting is more than listening to your podcast over on Spotify. Podcasting is the way it is today because it's open, and we have the ability now to bring new features and not have people listen on those legacy podcast apps, but the ability to listen today on a brand new infrastructure that basically keeps your listener on the app, keeps them engaged, keeps the comments on the app. There's a whole ecosphere of new features that are being brought forth in this innovative model in podcasting that's new. It's in the early days. You have the opportunity to participate. There's a variety of podcast hosts today that have initiated a number of Podcast 2.0 standards, and you can find information about those, again, over at podcastapps.com. Buzzsprout, Blubrry, RSS.com, RSS Blue are some of the hosting companies that are participating in the Podcasting 2.0 ecostructure. So again, it's really about expanding features for your audience beyond what has been currently available on most podcast hosts today. And we hope that you encourage your podcast host, whoever you're hosting your show with, to adopt some of these new Podcasting 2.0 initiatives and add these features so that you have a ability to expand and grow your audience at a greater rate. We all know about advertising models. Their sponsorship and advertisements, their subscription and premium content, which is a very viable model for shows that are growing. There's merchandise. There's affiliate marketing. His ability to do live shows and events, maybe creating courses, doing consulting. Sometimes we're going out and we're trying to get money, so maybe we're seeking a grant. And obviously there's ability to collaborate and do partnership with other podcasters and companies. My personal show has been sponsored since 2005 by GoDaddy. My sponsor for that show has renewed every month because we bring them value and we deliver ROI to them. So that can be done in combination. You can have a traditional podcast sponsorship and still do value for value and participate in this brand new space of innovation. And I think it's important. It's very, very important to understand that oftentimes we get really focused on making sure that we're heard on Spotify or Apple Podcast or wherever it may be. But understand that RSS is the backbone that keeps podcasting open. It's the last bastion of free speech. No one can control an RSS feed. There's no gatekeepers. The space remains open because RSS is open. And this is the reason that we are expanding podcasting today. We want the podcast ecosphere to have more features and be more robust over time. And this is where innovation is happening in the space. And of course, the value for value model is an alternative monetization approach that again focuses on a direct relationship between you, the content creator, and your audience. Instead of relying on advertising, sponsorships, or traditional subscription models, the value for value model encourages listeners to participate on the value that they get from the content that you perceive. Again, listeners can do direct support. They can still send donations through PayPal. They can still do Patreon. Those are all part of the value for value model. What we find exciting about the innovation piece in this, where we have folks just set up a wallet within these new apps at podcastapps.com, is the ability for them to do engagement to you directly as they're listening to the show. That engagement might be $1. It might be $5. It might be $100. But it's based upon the value they feel they're getting from the show. And it's a model that is sustainable for you as you grow your podcast. In conclusion, there's a lot of innovation happening in the podcasting space today. We want you to be part of it. I'm excited, very, very excited that within the Middle East and the Arabic-speaking millions of people that speak Arabic, that we have this ability for you to not have to reinvent the wheel. We want you to get started and going, and we want you to be able to be engaged from day one when you're doing your podcast. It's an exciting time in podcasting. I'm very excited for the region and the stories that are going to come out, in you as creators to create fantastic stories and create great content that needs to be surfaced and the world needs to hear. Again, my name is Todd Cochrane. It's been my pleasure to present to you for a short time today. I can be reached at Todd, Todd, at blubrry.com. Happy to answer any of your questions. I'm on all the social media platforms. It's been my pleasure for you today. Have a great day in Dubai. Have a great conference. And again, a big thank you to the organizers for allowing me to come in and to present today. Have a great conference.